Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Three Nations Dementia Working Group webinar, what it means to be part of Three Nations Dementia Working Group. I have a list here of members speaking to you this morning regarding the Three Nations. Three Nations Dementia Working Group is very unique in its approach as individuals lead it with lived experience of dementia. This ensures that the voices of those most affected are at the heart of decision-making, advocacy and awareness-raising efforts. Through collaboration with policymakers, healthcare professionals and community organisations, we continue to champion the rights of people with dementia and influence meaningful change in care, support and public understanding. I go to my first speaker now this morning, which is Hilary Doxford, who has asked me to read the history for you. I will read it as though I'm Hilary. Good morning. I'm Hilary Doxford and I co-founded the Three Nations Dementia Working Group with Chris Roberts from Wales. So how did we go about setting up the new group? Following my diagnosis, I got involved with the Alzheimer's Society and I had a question for them. Am I representing people with dementia or just myself? They answered, just yourself, which was a relief to me as I did not know much about dementia at that time. This got me thinking, how could I learn about dementia? I came to the conclusion speaking directly to people with dementia was the best course of action. Having been a member of the European Working Group for people with dementia, I thought that we needed a UK working group. So in December 2014, I approached the Alzheimer's Society about taking user involvement to the next level of creating a working group and prepared a feasibility proposal for the Alzheimer's Society to consider. In 2015, I discussed this idea with Keith Oliver and Chris Roberts, who agreed. It was suggested that we need to learn from other groups already running. So in November 2015, Alzheimer's Society agreed to fund a fact-finding visit to Scotland. In January 2016, myself, Chris Roberts and Matt Murray attended a 2-day meeting in Scotland with the Scottish Dementia Working Group and Alzheimer's Scotland. Later that year in June, Keith Oliver, Chris Roberts, Matt Murray and myself prepared a business case for funding the group and submitted it to the Alzheimer's Society board for consideration. The board approved funding the group as an independent group, but supported administratively by the Alzheimer's Society. Then in December, founder steering group members identified. Soon after, in the following February, an inaugural meeting was held and the name was agreed. At that meeting, I was elected as chair and Sheila Robinson and Joy Watson became vice chairs. We also debated the name as it sounded too grandiose, but still went with Three Nations as this is who we aim to represent, consult and work with. We are not the mouthpiece of the Alzheimer's Society. We are independent of it in a relationship that is a critical friend in both directions. Going to duplicate or unnecessarily replicate previous and current work. Benefits of my membership. Friendship. I have met many amazing people who have become good friends, which enables me to talk with them openly and share experiences. Education. Use these experiences to learn, gain an understanding of people's difficulties and to discuss new ideas. Support. To use other people's experience to gain help with things that I had not thought of. Direction is simply giving me a purpose. Thank you very much, Hilary. Now I will move to Roy Foden. When you're ready, Roy, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Stephen, and a very good morning to everybody. As you're aware, my name is Roy. I'm located in the city of Liverpool on the northwest coast of England. I'm 75 years of age and a retired nurse. I was diagnosed around 10 years ago with Lewy body dementia and Parkinsonism. The big question, what it means to be part of the Three Nations Working Group. Well, I've been a member for around 2.5 years. Initially, I thought, oh dear, another talking shop. How wrong I certainly was. Over the last decade, I've taken advantage of memory groups, CST, cognitive stimulation therapy, all provided by the NHS, of course, and very many research projects within the NHS and Liverpool University Department of Psychology. I'm not knocking in any way any of the above at all. I want to make that clear. Of course, they are vitally important assets available to us after diagnosis and beyond. Sometimes they can be, in my opinion, a little rigid in their format and perhaps repetitive in nature. That's my personal opinion. The Three Nations, completely a different ball game. I get the opportunity through Zoom to meet up with people across England, Northern Ireland, and Wales living their lives with dementia in a very relaxed, informal, non-judgmental, and extremely friendly atmosphere. With massive respect, there are no loved ones on board, no medics, no academics present. I've gained lifelong friends, perhaps never to meet face to face. It's become a very important part of my week. It's helped me feel far less isolated over the past couple of years. I'm able to discuss problems I encounter with people who understand what it's like living with dementia. I think on occasions I'm able to offer solutions or kindly advice to the group. Perhaps it's only in a small way. I'll give you an example. It's only last Saturday's session in the morning. We all discussed what it was like individually when first diagnosed. It was very informative. Our reactions to diagnosis were so very different from each other. And away from dementia, we seem to discuss many other subjects, perhaps current affairs. Get a little bit heated, but it's normal. No harm in that. Shall I call it therapy? Why not? And even with dementia, we still live in the real world and wish to continue to do so as far as it's going to be possible. It's the regularity of the group week in, week out. It's a constant. The services, the services side, the serious side to our problem, a listening ear, the humour, the friendliness. It would be wrong of me not to mention our dear friend Nigel Huller, who, on a couple of occasions, helped me on the telephone in a very low part of my life and my journey with the type of dementia I have, Lewy bodies. He is sadly a sadly missed guy. Being part of this amazing group of people, the Three Nations, allows me to be myself. Helps my personal vendetta against Lewy bodies and its effects on me. That I don't feel alone or isolated as much as I might have been. On a practical point, I take a large amount of medication. That's just one bag full of 2. Huge amount of medication for the Lewy bodies and the Parkinsonism. But no meds on this planet can ever offer me the feeling of inclusion that the Three Nation provides for me. Thank you. I'd love to go on for hours, but we can't. Thank you so much, Stephen, and you guys for listening. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Roy, for that very personal and in-depth speech. Of course, mention our former leader, Nigel. He has been a massive loss this year to the group. I cannot explain how much of a loss it has been to us. Nigel was a complete enigma. The amount of work that man did on his own was unbelievable. And the group are trying to keep ourselves running as a tribute to Nigel and all his hard work. Nigel, forever in our thoughts. Thank you, sir. Can we now move on, please, to Stan?
Good morning, all.
Good morning, Stan. Thank you.
I am 81 years of age, like Roy. I actually live in Liverpool, but you can probably tell by my accent, I'm not. I'm from Manchester, 30 miles down the road. Like most people that get the diagnosis with dementia, it's a massive shock. Not only is it that, but I certainly found, and I think a lot of other people have done so, that you lose your friends and even in part lose some of your family. This is to me where the Three Nations comes in. I've made a lot of friends through the Three Nations. Like Roy has said, the amount of warmth and friendship that is there, and it's genuine. It's not put up. It's not touted about or anything. It's genuine friendship. But not only that, it's a source of information. If you've got a question, you can ask the question. If somebody doesn't know the answer, they'll go to the end of the earth to find out the answer. As you can probably gather, I talk from the top of my head. I can't work with bullet notes or scripts. So what comes out my mouth is sort of instant. Yeah, I was diagnosed 2014, just about the same time as Roy. You might have gathered Roy and I are very good friends. In fact, Roy is the best friend I've got next to people in the Three Nations. Through Roy and with other groups that we've both been involved with, yeah, we've made a lot of other friends. Yeah, some have fallen by the wayside. But the true friends that you do get are what I found are there in the Three Nations. Yeah, Nigel has made a couple of calls to me to go through different things in the past, and I'm very grateful for that, for the support that's given. I can only speak only too highly of what I found from the Three Nations and the calibre of the people that take part. Today's panellists that are, well, every one of them, they're exceptionals to the rule. There's not much more I can say other than, yeah, I would highly recommend the Three Nations to other people, which I have done. You've now finished up being landed with 4 Liverpudlians in the Three Nations. Well, the Three Musketeers and myself. But it's a source of inspiration. It's a source of comfort. It's a source of actually being able to take part as a group. You know, to tell people that, oh, I'm doing something with the Three Nations. What the hell's that? You know, and you go into it, they don't grasp it. Because most people are very insular. That's one thing the dementia doesn't let you do. It doesn't let you be insular. Unlike Roy, I don't have a vendetta against my dementia. In fact, I coined a phrase a while back, and Nigel asked me if he could pick it up. And that was, I said, I don't live with dementia. Dementia lives with me. It's got to fit in with the way I lead my life. That's been made a lot worse because I've gone comorbidity. I've got a chronic sight loss, and I've also got bladder cancer, which I got to clear yesterday. It's run up to me, cha-ching. But it is the sense of being part of something with people who have got common ground. people are not looking at you askance and say, what's he on about? They understand what you're talking about without having to go into it fully. And certainly when you take part in both the Saturday and the Sunday things, you get to know a lot of other people of the same ilk. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to the length and breadth of the country about this illness. But Roy and I have fought since 2014, since our diagnosis, to fight the stigma of dementia. You know, and it's slowly being eroded. It's not going to completely disappear. You've always got people of my generation, you know, to have dementia. You were in the loony bin. And that's the stigma that sticks, certainly with my generation. It's slowly, as I say, being eroded, but I'm starting to get lost for words now. Anyway, basically, that's all I've got to say on the situation. I thank you all for your company, your guidance, and your understanding.
Thank you so much, Stan, for that very personal, in-depth piece. May we now please move on to Eamon.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Eamon. I was diagnosed 8 years ago with frontal temporal lobar dementia. I also have the luxury of a second dementia, which is called cortical basal disintegration, which is an extremely rare one. I was first diagnosed, and it was actually a weight off my shoulders, different to a lot of people, because things were going wrong and I couldn't understand why. Once I was diagnosed, it let me understand what was going wrong and how to work around it, how to live my life without the problems I was having. I have some great friends: Alexa, my noteboard, my whiteboard, my watch. Without them, I would forget meetings, which I do on a regular basis because I read the emails and delete them. I would forget all kinds of things. I have difficulty with people's names. Even though I've talked to them on a regular basis, I sometimes still have to hope they put their name up on the screen, otherwise I can't remember it. I got in touch. Three Nations come to me via a friend with dementia, and he said, "Here, try this group. You might like it." So 6 years ago, I joined in. Well, as Stan and Roy have said, what a fantastic bunch of people. You don't have to talk down to anybody. Nobody talks down to you. Nobody talks over you. We're all friends. And I have made some fantastic friends on here as well. You know, what can I say? If I have a question and they don't know the answer, they know somebody who does, or they find somebody who does, and then get back to you. What more? You know, we swap ideas on gadgets, things that we can use to help and assist each other. We do all kinds of things. Talk to people up and down the country. I talk to people that I will never meet, but I do on screen, and that's just as precious to me. As Stan said, once you're first diagnosed, you lose a lot of friends. Well, I think about 85% of my friends vanished, including 2 of them was my sons. They could not deal with a diagnosis. They're in their 30s, they're not young, but they could not deal with it. So they no longer contact me or email or text, even on my birthday, Christmas, New Year. But that's up to them. I have one son who keeps them well informed. So it's a case of, if they finally get round to it, they know where I am and how to contact. So that is the way it is. But every weekend, I go on Sundays mainly, because it's time where I've got some time to actually sit and relax and not have to worry about chores and different things as I live on my own. And we sit down and we have a laugh and a joke and banter. And it can be from anything to everything. This weekend, it started off on one subject. It went round the houses and through the trees, and we was on dozens of different subjects by the end of the hour. And it was so relaxing. It leaves a smile on my face for the end of the weekend, which I don't know about you lot, but to actually finish on a Sunday afternoon with a big smile on my face is great. So that makes me feel good, makes me feel happy, and starts me up for Monday to go all over again. The usual doctors and neurologists have been in acute pain, because once you're diagnosed with young onset, you're just put on the back burner. They don't want to know. They just abandon you, basically. But we're gradually changing their minds through interviews and stuff like that. The taboo, well, as Roy said, again, we're gradually chipping away at that, and we will not get there all the time, but we're going to do it for the next generation that are going to follow us, as they definitely will, unfortunately. But let's hope their work with the new drugs progresses, and let's hope that they manage to diagnose a lot earlier, therefore they can deal with it, slow it down. That's about all I've got to say today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing your questions in the chat box. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eamon, for those thoughtful and enlightening views. May we now please move on to Marilyn.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, where do I start? I was diagnosed in 2016 with Alzheimer's. Now, I have a familial link with Alzheimer's. My mother was diagnosed with it. She had Parkinson's as well. Her sister was diagnosed with it with Lewy body. And my grandmother had senile dementia many years ago. So I wasn't surprised when I got my diagnosis. I knew what was coming. What I didn't know was the fact that I didn't have Alzheimer's. I didn't find that out until I went on a drugs trial. And they do far more testing. And I had a phone call one day. Do you want the good news or the bad news? They said. I said, oh, for God's sake, just hit me with the news, please. Well, you haven't got Alzheimer's. And why? Because I haven't got any amyloid plaque in my spinal fluid, because they took the trouble to give everybody, what you call it? Can't remember the word. This is my trouble these days. I can't remember things. A lumbar puncture. Okay, right. Well, I said, I've been taking the drugs for 18 months. I've been on memantine. Well, you can carry on taking it if you think it's doing you any good. Well, I've carried on taking it. The GPs just produce it every month on repeat. And I've explored other avenues. Nobody's given me an official other diagnosis. But I think because I've had a mini stroke or two, went blind overnight, on one occasion with one eye, I put it down to the other most common vascular dementia. I have a lot of falls, and part of having the falls has left me with scoliosis. Just to add to the other complaint of age, what do you call it? Arthritis. I think I've got both sorts now, but I don't let it stop me doing anything. I do a lot of gardening. I do a lot of public speaking. I bang on about dementia at the bus stop, in the supermarket queue. And when I found out about Three Nations, I thought, right, I'll join this one. And I'm a relatively new member of it. And I'm dipping my toe in the water. I haven't actually chaired a meeting yet, but I'm very much enjoying the banter, the friendship. It's a highlight of my weekend. I try to get onto both, but sometimes you can't manage those, other events take over. And I look forward to Monday afternoons. That is sacrosanct, unless I'm on holiday, that my 3:30 appointment with the group, and I'm there most times, and I get a lot out of it. What I think is we are marginalized. I think when I was first diagnosed, I was in 5 choirs. I had to give up driving almost immediately, which I was glad about because my spatial awareness was absolute pants. And I felt as if when I was divorced, you know who your real friends are. And the fair weather friends just quietly walked on the other side of the road, so to speak, and would speak if you actually accosted them, but no way were they going to get involved with me, particularly in social situations, which leads to isolation. And so I've made a determined effort to get involved in everything I possibly can. And I think one of the reasons why I'm keeping it to a degree at bay is because you've got to give yourself tasks to do. And I'm on so many Zoom calls. The friends that I've got get quite irritated because I'm not available because I'm on a Zoom. I live in sheltered accommodation, and we have somebody will press the buzzer and say, "Good morning, Marilyn. I'm in a Zoom." You can't escape it. But that's what life is like for me. But I'm very grateful to the Alzheimer's Society for allowing us to have Three Nations. I think we should have a few more members on the steering group, because we haven't got much in the way of the Welsh contingent now. I think we could, without being racist, we could be saying, if you're Welsh, please come along. So that's me. So I'll finish because I can burble for England. Thanks very much for listening, folks.
Thank you very much, Marilyn, for those lovely words, and long may you continue to spread the message. Can we now move along, please, to Joy?
I'm giving myself a pat on the back because I actually remembered to turn the silent thing off. Yeah, as Hilary said earlier, I was part of Three Nations group almost at the beginning, and I just grew with the group. And as already been said, it's been so helpful in fact finding, but more important in getting to know people who are in the same situation as myself. Yeah, I have been a part of the working group for a lot of years, and I've enjoyed my time on the steering group, and I'll tell you why. Over the years, the team has been my second family. They've been there for me in good times and bad times. When things are tough and I feel like giving up, my Three Nations family come alongside. There's an unspoken understanding between us. I don't have to explain things unless I want to. The projects Three Nations have been involved in have on occasion been challenging. But hey, we all need a challenge. And when you are surrounded by like-minded people, the challenges serve to stretch us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Joy. Well done. May we now please move on to Amy from the Alzheimer's Society, who will explain the support that the Alzheimer's Society provides to the Three Nations Dementia Working Group. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, and thanks, Steve, and thanks everyone for letting me come on for a little while to tell you a bit more about what we do at Alzheimer's Society to support the group. So I won't talk for a long time because I'm sure you have questions, and Steve's also going to follow me, but just to give you a bit of an insight into how we help the group. So I'm Amy Cordiak, and I'm a Senior Involvement Partner at Alzheimer's Society. And me, alongside my colleague Cheryl Elliott, offer feedback from the involvement team to the group, and we also feedback their opinions and anything that they think is an important topic that they want us to share higher up the chain, if you like. And we are also joined as well by business support, who we've got Claire, who's on the call today. She might maybe, I'm not sure whether you'll see if she takes the camera off, but she offers support alongside her colleague Helen. And what they do is they monitor the inbox, so the email account for the Three Nations, respond to any of the requests or anything that comes in. And we do get quite a lot of external requests for people asking for insight from the group. They also support with the webinars, so they will do the behind the scenes bit for the webinars. And just generally anything admin related is what they get involved in. So the group really appreciates the support of Claire and Helen. So we're quite a small team really that offers some support. The group is working towards becoming more independent and is considering additional roles to be able to join them in their strive towards more independence. And the group does produce an annual report for Alzheimer's Society, which gives us a really good insight into what's been happening across the Three Nations and also everything that they've been doing in their local areas. So that's really helpful to us. And just generally being on hand to be able to give us any feedback on anything that's topical for us. So another lovely thing that all the group members do is they will let us know if there's been anything that's a hot topic from the Saturday and Sunday socials. Obviously, they don't share any information about, you know, who said what or anything like that, but they'll let us know if there's something they think that we need to take forward or that we need to raise as a campaigning issue. And that's really helpful to us because it gives us valuable insight into what's going on in the wider world. And because the Saturday and Sunday socials are attended by just people with a dementia diagnosis or people with dementia, it means that we are getting first-hand experience shared with us, which is just really invaluable to us. So the group, although we do offer behind-the-scenes support, the group really does everything themselves. So as I said, they are an independent group. So they will think about topics that they want to put on their webinars. So, and this will come from feedback from wider members, but the webinars, if you get the chance to watch them, they are a whole wide range of topics. So they range from things like dementia authors to spirituality to transport to driving. There isn't a topic that's taboo, and it really comes from the feedback that people get from the socials and from the wider group. So there is a YouTube channel that has all of the webinars on, and I think currently the group has about 30 on there. So what I'll do following this is I'll pop the link for the YouTube channel into the chat so you can have a little look at that. So I suppose if you're interested in reaching out to the group for their insight or to give them feedback, or if you want to take part in the socials, or maybe if you're brave enough to take part in a webinar too, because we're always looking for new speakers, then the best way to get in touch is to email the group. And again, I'll put that in the chat too. And Claire and Helen do a fantastic job, like I said, of monitoring the inbox. So they'll pass on any messages. And yeah, it's just really good to be working with such an inclusive group and to get first-hand experience of what it's like to live with dementia. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Amy. I would also say thank you to yourself, to Cheryl, Claire and Helen, our support team from the Alzheimer's. You do a wonderful job keeping us on the right road. You look after us and you do so much work behind the scenes. So on behalf of the Three Nations, we thank you very much for your help. Right, now I suppose it's my turn to talk for a minute. Basically, the Three Nations Dementia Working Group was founded to amplify the voices of people living with dementia across England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Established in recognition of the need for direct representation of those with lived experience, the group serves as a platform to advocate for improved care, greater awareness and inclusive policies. Our primary purpose is to ensure that individuals affected by dementia are actively involved in shaping the decisions, policies and practices that will impact our lives. The group works collaboratively with policymakers, healthcare professionals and community organisations to foster a society where people with dementia are empowered to live well. Since its inception, the Three Nations Dementia Working Group has been pivotal in influencing national strategies, raising awareness through public campaigns, and providing guidance on creating dementia-friendly communities. The Three Nations Dementia Working Group is led and governed by individuals who have personal experience of living with dementia, ensuring that its activities and decisions reflect the real needs and priorities of the dementia community. Membership also includes carers and supporters who contribute additional perspectives. The group is organised as follows. The Steering Committee, a core group of members responsible for strategic direction, decision-making, and representing the group in high-level discussions. Regional representatives, members from England, Wales, and Northern Ireland who ensure the diverse needs of each nation are addressed. General members, individuals with lived experience or direct connections with dementia who actively participate in meetings, projects, and campaigns. The Three Nations Dementia Working Group is supported by partnerships with organisations such as the Alzheimer's Society, which provides logistical assistance and facilitates connections with key stakeholders. Dementia-friendly communities advocacy spearheaded a campaign encouraging businesses, public services, and local governments to adopt dementia-friendly practices. This includes workshops and resources to make public spaces more accessible. Partnered with national campaigns to promote the Dementia Awareness Week, reaching thousands through media appearances, articles, and engagements. We have also launched a campaign focusing on carers' rights, advocating for better recognition, financial support, and access to respite care. Collaborative projects with partners. We have been involved with research collaboration, partnered with leading research organisations to provide input on studies, exploring new treatments and interventions for dementia, ensuring that research priorities align with the needs of those living with dementia. Technology for inclusion. Working with tech companies to trial and improve assistive technologies aimed at enhancing independence and safety for people with dementia, such as GPS trackers, communication aids, and memory support services. Cross-national dementia strategy. Collaborated with Alzheimer's Society and other advocacy groups to contribute to the development of a unified dementia strategy across England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom, promoting best practices in care and inclusion. Some of our key policy contributions. We've had government consultations, played an active role in consultations with national governments on dementia strategies, care funding, and healthcare system improvements. Members provided first-hand accounts to inform policymakers. We have advocated for the inclusion of lived experience in policy formation, resulting in significant amendments to local dementia action plans. Deprivation of liberty safeguards. We have submitted recommendations on the reform of deprivation of liberty safeguards to ensure that protections for people with dementia are respect their dignity and autonomy. Mental Capacity Act advocacy. We have contributed to policy discussions around the Mental Capacity Act, emphasising the importance of person-centred decision-making for individuals with dementia. Community outreach and engagement. We engage in public webinars and events. We've hosted a series of webinars attended by hundreds of participants, addressing topics such as living well with dementia, navigating legal and financial challenges, support for carers, and working with technology. Our peer support initiatives. We have facilitated peer support networks through virtual and in-person meetings, connecting individuals with dementia and their carers to share experience and strategies. We have organised community workshops across the Three Nations to educate the public about dementia, focusing on reducing the stigma and fostering understanding. We have members who have shared their stories through interviews, articles, social media campaigns, reaching new audiences and promoting empathy and awareness. These highlights underscore the dedication and the impact of Three Nations Working Group members in advocating for change, influencing policy, and supporting communities. We are driven by the commitments and lived experience of our members. I was diagnosed with my frontotemporal lobar dementia in 2016. I struggled and I flapped around in the water quite a lot for the first 12 months. I was very much involved with my work in Dementia NI, and I was aware of the Three Nations, but I knew nothing about it. I met with Nigel Holler in person a couple of times. Nigel and I spoke at length about the work of the Three Nations and how things can be changed in future. We talked at great length about involvement for Northern Ireland. We also talked on a very personal basis. Nigel helped me through a really, really hard time, and I will never forget that. Our leader, our group, was all done by Nigel. He was a force. People will not realise how much work he actually did. We are discovering daily how much work he did. We have lost Nigel this year, and to be honest, we've been like a fish flapping in the water, but we are now becoming more centred on getting the group back together, running forward, and as a tribute to Nigel, we will keep this group strong moving forwards. Could I ask Amy, please, to put up the slide when you're ready for the contact information? We have here details of how to get in touch with us. We are very accessible. Towards the end of the year, we are hoping to have our new website up and running. This will probably be around Christmas time or maybe just after, but we look forward to interacting with people via the website as well as other means. If you have any questions, please put them in the web chat and we will endeavour to answer as much as we can.
I'll just have a look and see if there's anything in the chat questions wise, but I've got some ones that I wondered if I could put to the group because it might answer some of the questions that people have, but they might be reluctant to say on a webinar. So I'll put them in the chat, but I suppose one of the questions was, are there any expectations for members? So if you become a member, from your point of view, is there anything that people need to do or do they need to attend regularly? Roy?
That's right.
All I can advise is join, because without getting emotional, which I do, it's crazy, isn't it? 75-year-old man. It's a family. It's a slowly growing family. The support, just by simply talking, the simplest thing we can do. We learn from each other. I've mentioned about Nigel's help to me privately on the phone 2 or 3 times. I'll go as far as to say I was at a very low point. That guy did so much for me to ease me out of what I was thinking about. I'm not going to go into details. It is a family. It's just a massive support. I can't really put it into words. like I said, I take this huge amount of crazy pills and potions. None of that, I'm speaking from my nurse's hat on now, none of that can give me what the Three Nations has given me over the last 2.5 years. It's impossible. I'm not knocking the medication. I need it. Couldn't survive without it to stay stable, to stay as well as I am in inverted commas. But this group is incredible. And I would say, please join. We help each other on a day-to-day basis. The highlight of my day is Saturday. Predominantly it's Saturday. Occasionally it's Sunday. It's a massive learning curve, listening to each other, sorting out our individual problems. It all helps, plus the humor. That's about all I can say, Amy. If that's of any help to anybody.
Thank you, Roy. I think that's a very important point to remember. Dementia, we find humor in as well. We live with dementia every day. We don't have any high expectations of anybody. Each and every person is welcome. Everybody is equal at the meetings. I would say to anybody, if they want to dip their toes in the water, please come along to either of our weekend sessions on Saturday or Sunday. Saturday morning is 11 o'clock and Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. We do have carers as associate members, but full members with a diagnosis or without a diagnosis can also become members. As long as you are prepared to put a little smile on somebody's face during your time with Three Nations, that's all we would expect of anybody. Every person can get involved as much or as little as they want. We are here to support one another, and we always look forward to supporting new members. And new members, we love to see new members gain from the group and watch them soar as time progresses. We are determined to amplify our voices with the relevant authorities. We want to move dementia help forward in this nation. We owe it to people coming behind us to try and make the pathways that little bit clearer. We have all come up against struggles in our lives. If we can change things for one person, isn't that the way to move forward? United and as friends, and as more than ever as family. Thank you, Amy.
I think you've got one question in the chat from Eric as well. He says, thank you to all. I'm a co-author of a study for those with LTCs. I made sure dementia played a role into the study, which is now in the BMJ. I think that must be the British Medical Journal. I have dementia and want to do my bit, Eric.
Eric, you're most welcome to come along. You're most welcome to come and speak with us. As I say, if you want to come to a weekend group and introduce yourself, you're more than welcome. And let's see what we can move along from there. I'll go to Roy.
Just a quickie. We've got limited time. Some of us, as you're aware, have communication problems. That doesn't matter at all. Do you want to sit there filling in your pools, coupon, doing your nails, whatever? It's hard to do. I've never come across anything like this group. It's you just feel included. You might have communication problems with speech and so on. It simply doesn't matter. It's your presence is important to each and every one of us. That's it, really.
Those words are so true, Roy. We do have members that would attend the weekend groups. Some weekends they may not wish to speak, and that is not a problem. We can include people without them having to speak. People can feel the lift that these groups give each other at the weekend. And if we can keep you in a good frame of mind, and as Eamon said earlier, if you can leave the group with a smile on your face, we have all done our job for each other. So if you feel you would like to join Three Nations, please do get in touch. We are here to help. We're here to support one another. And we always will welcome new members, no matter what part of the United Kingdom you live in. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time this morning. Go back to Amy. Thank you.
I don't think there are any further questions, so maybe we wrap up now, and if anybody has anything they want to ask, as everybody said, just send us an email and the group will endeavour to answer it. And obviously also there's the Saturday and Sunday socials. So when you receive an email following this, it will have the links on. We send the links out to all of the members, and you can come along and you can ask your questions there. But I think that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And I would just say that anybody who wants to listen to this webinar again, it will be available on YouTube on our channel within the next few days. I would say once again, thank you very, very much to each of our members this morning. Thank you to our support team at the Alzheimer's Society. And hopefully we will look forward to seeing new members if and when they are ready. I wish everybody a good day. Thank you so much for your constant support. Wishing you all good health, good luck, and in this weather, please stay hydrated. Thank you very much. Goodbye.